ladies and gentlemen, this is Aggie's Live Talk Show on Radio R in Stuttgart, Germany. I know you're there, you're waiting, we are there and ready to give you fresh stuff in New Year. Happy New Year, by the way. I hope you celebrated nicely. I hope you had the blast. I hope you started well. I hope you made nice resolutions, wise resolutions. I hope you just started off well. And in studio, I have a very special guest all the way from Norway, and I'm looking forward. It's gonna be late, guys. So if you didn't prepare, get ready now because we're gonna hit it and we're gonna start it and we're gonna have lots of things to learn from Chemna Talks. But I'm not going to say much. She's going to introduce herself. My lady, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
I'm glad that I got invited.
You got invited?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Surprise visit. It's really nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Because anyone who gets to be here is a special guest.
Oh.
And you're one of those special guests. Actually, the very first this year in my
Wow.
show.
2023.
Yeah, you're
Gonna be a
premiering.
blessed year.
Yes, it's gonna be a wonderful year.
Sure,
It's gonna
sure.
be perfect, especially with you in studio. I'm starting on a high note
I have no
because, girl, you have a lot to offer us.
Thank
We
you.
have a lot to learn today, and of course, I have my favorite producer, Mr. Canida Richards himself, the VIP, the ambassador, Mr. Ambassador. I hope you're doing fine behind the camera. Yeah, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad that we can have this time today because I have been curious about life in Norway. And you know, it's really a special offer and honor that you are here live in studio. Yeah, and you're more beautiful than your pictures. You know, I have to tell you that.
I thank you.
The pictures
may
hide some
lie.
things, eh?
So
Eh,
this
but
is the real me.
yeah, just go on being beautiful,
Thank
more
you.
beautiful.
Thank you, Agnes.
And you have a lot of things to tell us. But first of all, introduce yourself.
My name is Caroline. Currently residing in Norway, but I'm originally from Kenya,
Okay.
from Nanyuki to be specific.
You are from Nanyuki.
I'm from Nanyuki town.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the place where everyone is going to retire. And if you have not secured
Everyone.
a place to
Have you had-
retire, so just know that everyone is retiring in Nanyuki.
Ah.
So make plans, yeah?
Yeah.
So I was born and raised up in Nanyuki
Okay.
before I ended up in Norway.
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Cool. In Nanyuki. It's at the foot of Mount Kenya, I
It
heard.
is at the foot of Mount
Tell
Kenya.
us about Nanyuki. What is special about it? Because you're saying we're going to retire there.
Yes.
So we better know what is in Nanyuki that's gonna make me want to retire there.
Oh, Nanyuki
I mean,
is
it sounds like I have no choice.
Yeah?
So I need to know what I'm getting into.
I tell you, Nanyuki is a very, it's a it's called
Cosmopolitan. Whatever.
Call it again.
As
That
a
one.
cosmopolitan
Yes,
city.
it's
It's a town or city?
It's a town. It's
Okay.
not city yet.
It's
yeah?
not a city
Yeah.
yet.
So Nanyuki is a very nice town or a place to retire.
Okay.
Because of many things, and one of those many things is that it's a tourist attraction.
Attraction.
Area, you know?
Because of Mount Kenya.
Because of Mount
I
Kenya.
think.
and
Guys,
many
you
other
hear,
things.
because of
And
Mount Kenya,
game
even if we
reserves.
will be old,
And
we
game
still
reserves.
game reserves. Okay, at least we don't have to climb Mount Kenya because that will be hard in
Gone are
old
days
age.
where we used to meet with giraffes and other wild animals, yeah. But when you go to Nanyuki, there
Yeah.
are game reserves where you can just drive in and watch all those animals. You don't have to
Alright.
travel all the way to Masai Mara.
Okay, cool.
So that can be a very nice reason as
Awesome.
why you should retire there.
Okay, there are
And the
there are
weather is
animals. Okay, but there are no lions roaming the streets. Eh?
No.
Because giraffes, I have no problem
They-
with
they are
giraffes
contained.
because those ones they don't eat us.
Yeah.
We eat them if we want. But the other ones they may decide to eat us, so I don't want them roaming the streets.
The ones that are dangerous are contained, so you're safe.
Ah, good. Good to know. No lions on the streets. Have you heard? No lions on the streets of Nanyuki.
But let me tell you, when you know Nanyuki is it's a very interesting place because originally Maasai say it was their place, but
Oh.
as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
it is a settlement scheme. So Nanyuki belongs to no tribe,
Anybody,
because
it
it's
belongs to
many
anybody.
people came and settled there. Actually, it is a multicultural place. We have
Yes.
all the tribes in Kenya settled in Nanyuki, so it's a
Okay.
very beautiful one. And in 1970s, now you can try to imagine how old I am. That is where my parents settled in Nanyuki.
Okay.
During those days, you could interact with wild animals.
Anybody.
Any animal that you can think
So
that is
you
found
may
in
have
Kenya.
had a lion cub as your pet when you were growing up, thinking it was a cat.
Leave alone that, yeah. You know, you send me back to many years when we used to go to and look after our father's animals, yeah?
Yeah.
And let me tell you, we would fight for our animals,
Yeah.
when they are being attacked by these animals. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, if you were the one on duty that day,
Yeah.
you had no choice.
Whoa.
My father never had a choice. It is either you save his animals or you be
Or you.
devoured.
Hey.
devoured.
So the animals were very important for him.
The
but
animals were
also
very
you.
important
So you had
for
to
you.
fight for yourself.
I tell you, if
But you
one
did
was
you ever
eaten,
have to fight a lion?
no, but cheetahs.
I'm interested with lions because those things
But
I've had even
cheetahs, but cheetahs, we had to make sure that when you spotted on this direction, we knew how to make sure that they don't attack our animals, because you'd explain
I
otherwise.
hope you were not alone.
We used to be very many people, because there are many people who used to have animals those days. Many
And those
people
days
had-
there were no plots being sold. It was more vast than now. It
people
was
used
more
to-
nature, open.
People used to own large pieces of land.
Okay.
They were not fenced, so
Okay.
we could just go and just let animals roam.
Roam.
But today,
No, it's impossible.
Different-
Everywhere in Kenya is getting
different
like
story.
that. Yeah.
And this is why you hear when you
Everywhere.
hear people are retiring in Nanyuki, now you can imagine all those pieces of land are divided into small pieces
So-
and they are being sold out.
Yeah. So now
But I think the times are changing, and life is changing, and if that is the only option you have to do what you need to do.
you have to need. You know what? I tell you what. I'm so glad you fought and you won over those animals.
Thank
And
you.
you kept your father's herd safe.
Thank you.
You're a tough girl. I knew it. I knew you were a tough one. If
Great,
you fought
great.
those animals and you saved the cows and the
Growing
goats.
educate was very interesting.
Huh?
Actually, some of those things made
I
us who
never
we are
thought of
today.
it like that. Actually, the only challenge I thought about Nanyuki, because I've passed there several times, and the only thing that touched me about Nanyuki was it was cold.
Yeah, in the evenings.
That
and
was
in the
my
mornings.
first cold
We-
place I experienced. I mean,
Actually, we normally say Nanyuki cold
Yeah.
talks in the morning and in the evening. It talks.
it talks.
Yeah, it speaks.
Because you have even dew on the grass in the
tell
morning.
You, I tell you. And by the time you know it, you started being black around these areas.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Especially if you are light skinned.
And I think that is how I was able to survive in Norway. And
Yeah,
especially
you are
at a time
programmed
like
already.
now, when it is the
I should
temperatures
have
are
been
going
born
as,
in Nanyuki.
as low as -12. Yeah.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
But anyway, that is me
That is Nanyuki.
growing up in Nanyuki in those days, and having an interesting journey that we are going to talk later.
We talk about it. Now, this is something that I think as you're growing up, you did not plan. One day I'm going to be in Norway.
No.
You ended up in Norway. Tell us about how you grew up. Just, here and there, how you grew up, your school time, whatever, until the point you decided now you want to go out.
Yeah, Agnes, I was born to Mr. and Mrs. Colom. Yeah, probably if someone listening to us happened to come from Nanyuki, I was in a primary school called Kalalo Primary School.
Kalalo.
Yeah? Kalalo.
Kalalo.
But
with Ls.
people from there,
Kararo.
we have some
The L's and the R's they refuse.
Nyeri influence, yeah? So
Yeah.
people say
Kararo.
Kararo Primary School, yeah?
Okay.
That is where I went to school,
Okay.
born and under the proprietorship of Mr. and Mrs. Colom. My dad, many people knew him as Mzee Colom. as a
Kolom.
Kolom. As a Kalenjin, there were very few Kalenjins during those days. But
I
my
imagine.
dad was known because he was a leader during those days. He was
Okay.
a chief at some point. He was a nominated councillor.
Yeah.
And people knew him. He was Mzee wa Kazi, as they used to call him. He contributed a lot in especially education development. Not to mention that his girls, were not supposed to be sent to school, but he's champion on education.
Are you serious?
Mostly.
Oh my God,
But
yeah.
as far as he was concerned, boys, you never had to discuss about boys' education. They were to go to school, but
the
when it
girls,
came to girls,
questionable.
it was another story. So, and Mr. Kolom had 2 wives. One of the wives was my mom, or
Okay.
is my mom, who is still alive.
Oh,
Mr.
thank
Kolom
God.
rested a few years ago, not a few years ago actually.
Sorry.
It started to be many years ago. And then the first wife was a Kalenjin, because my father is originally from Kapsabet. And my stepmother was living in Kapsabet, while we lived with dad and mom in Nanyuki. But we had a very interesting program, we whereby we used to shift. Sometimes we could go with our dad to our stepmother, and then children from my stepmother could come to our place. And my mom and my stepmother loved each other like they were sisters.
Whoa,
And
that's very rare.
and
Let me say that here. Huh? Kudos to them.
let me
It's
tell
not
you.
very easy to have co-wives become friendly to each
No,
other.
it's not, But I thank God, because actually they taught us love and unity,
Oh,
even
wow.
without sitting us down and telling us
Wow.
people should live in unity, and they should families should love each other.
Yeah.
Because it was a very nice family to see during their days, being co-wives, and they could live under the same roof. Not to mention that whenever they were
Really?
in this exchange program,
Okay.
they could spend in the same bedroom,
Same
the
bedroom.
3 of them.
Ah,
So for
That
us,
is peace extended. Peace, we have to celebrate that. Well, I'm not saying everybody now you go getting 2 wives and bring them in 1 bedroom, because
Sure,
I
sure.
cannot guarantee there will be peace.
No, not even
but this
that.
one functioned. Hey, I don't know how he did it.
I
Mr.
don't know,
Kolom,
but
you
it
did a
worked.
good job.
But
Eh?
it worked, and the
Yeah.
number of
May he
children-
continue resting in peace.
we were 17 in number
Wow.
from the both mothers.
From both mamas, yeah.
So
Amazing.
That explains why probably education was not a luxury for everyone of us.
17
So
is- wow.
17 was a huge number, but luckily my step siblings were mostly grown up by the time I was being born. Yeah?
Okay.
I'm
Your mom is the
last.
second wife.
Yeah, and I'm
Okay.
second last in the whole line. Yeah. So by the time I'm being born, my parents were a little bit aged, but they
Okay.
were still working.
Yeah.
And because of their traditions and culture and their orientation, when I got to class 8, then that was the end of
The
the
end of
education
story.
journey for a girl child.
Okay.
From there, you're supposed to go and do whatever your age mates are doing.
Fend for yourself.
And at that particular time, I remember very well from my own relatives and other village girls. By the time you got to class 8, you went through this traditional rite of passage. Then they used to get married, and the education, that was the end of the education journey.
Yeah.
Something that was very, 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 very sad. And
was it more a tribal thing? Was it more just because of the culture at that time, or was it just it was trend? Girls
No,
just didn't go beyond.
I think it was a subculture in that particular in those days. Yeah. Remember, these are people who are settling or who had settled in Nanyuki. Majority of them were economically struggling.
Yeah.
Though, in my own understanding today, when I look back, it was no girl child education. Was not hindered because of economical struggles. It was more of culture that a girl child was supposed to get married, bear children, raise families, and take care of each one else. Apart from herself. So. Because I say this because many people owned huge pieces of land, kept a lot of animals. Let me tell you, as far as I can remember, I used to look after my dad's goats and sheep, over 100 of them.
Wow.
Cows, My mom whoever gave birth in the village,
Yeah.
my mom used to distribute or supply them with milk, for free, not selling. for free.
Wow.
So this is why I don't like saying that them not sending us to school was because of
Poverty.
financial issues.
wasn't.
It was just about a culture, what is
Cultural
expected of a
thing.
child, a girl child.
Yeah.
So back in 1993, when I first did my KCPE,
Yeah.
so my education journey ended there. But Agnes, let me tell you, I had observed what would happen. It was just a same thing that used to happen with the girls who ended up at class 7 and got married. As a whole, poverty, suffering. And by the time someone is outside school for 3 years, you'd think it's an old woman in the village.
Oh yes.
And
I
let me
can
tell you,
imagine that.
And by the time I was sitting my KCP and going through the rite of passage, because we never had a choice, I had made up my mind. Getting married at the age of 15, it was a note for me. And I thank God today, because were it not for that decision I made, I would not have
You
been
would not
known.
be even here.
Yes.
So let me dwell on that. You deciding that marriage was not an option for you. Did you make that decision for you yourself, or you told your mom and dad, I'm not planning to get married, even if I'm going through the process of being prepared to be a woman, a wife? Did you communicate that to them? And if yes, how did they react? Or you just made a decision and you thought, okay, this is for me, this is what I'm gonna do, and then that was it?
I remember that's a decision that I made in class 5, and I remember I was in school and can remember the compound and where I was there. I can't remember what triggered me to think on that line. In class 5, I think I must have been around 11, 12 years, around there. But I remember I hated poverty because I could see other girls whose parents were able, they were wearing shoes, they were wearing nice
This
clothes,
and that.
you know. And us used to have this uniform with virakas. We used to call them virakas, whereby they are torn, and then you look for different materials.
The
you're
patches.
patching, you know. And then you used to
Actually,
have,
you would be in fashion currently.
you know? And if you're
Oh my
lucky,
God, huh?
if you're lucky, you'd have a Sunday best. But there were families that were so poor that the same uniform were the same Sunday best. And I think it is out of that I made a decision. If getting married early, this is what will lead to me dwelling and living and continuing the culture of poverty. Something that I was supposed to continue to pass it to my children. I decided no. But let me tell you, I never knew what I wanted. I never knew what I would do. I never knew what would happen. But only one thing that was so clear in me: I would not get married at that particular time. So, Agnes, I've done my KCPE. I've gone through the rite of passage for girls, and then I asked my parents, so what?
Next?
Then I'm sent to my dad's auntie to Kapsabet. And at Kapsabet, something interesting happened. My auntie was brewing changa, and that is what I was introduced to. And
Guys, those who don't know, changa is a kind of schnapps. What is schnapps? Real high quality liquor made automatically by Africans.
I tell you.
Even if it's not internationally accepted. It's like the Jack Daniels and whatever else you're buying off the shelf, but made by Mama Mboga or whoever at home.
And actually, it was more than that.
I'll come back to
because,
that.
I want to believe if that particular kind of illicit brew was taken to a lab, I think it would test 99%.
Yes,
alcohol,
pure,
I tell you. And that is why you had people saying they want bikira. Bikira is like a virgin, you know. Bikira is virgin,
I
the
didn't know
bikira one, the one that is not diluted from distillation, the thing, So that is what I helped my auntie do, and also we were doing something else called busa. I don't know how I can explain
Busa,
it.
oh my God, how do you translate busa?
It's a traditional.
It's a kind of
it's
a traditional alcohol
beer
drink,
and all those things, So I did that not for so long, and then I realized, because there again, what used to happen, old men would come and say, I want that girl. to be
Okay.
my third, fourth, fifth wife. Yeah.
6, 7, 9,
I
10.
mean, and girls never had a choice. And
Yeah.
therefore, after scouting and seeing the way those old men would come from 6 a.m. to drink,
Sit there.
and I realized also I was not safe there.
Yeah.
And I decided to go back to Nanyuki to my parents. Yeah.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then I went there and I did not stay longer because your parents are wondering, what are you doing here? Because your
You're not
age
supposed
mates
to be
are
here.
doing what
They
they're
are
supposed to be
married.
doing. What are you
Uh-huh.
doing here? So that is why I decided to start working as a house help. That is how my journey started now. I
Ah.
moved home for the second time. I went to Laikipia Air Base, those who know Nanyuki, and that is where I got employed for the first time as a house help. I stayed there for a few months, and then again I was vulnerable, and someone wanted to take advantage of me. And anytime I saw those signs, or what came in my mind, you're going to get a child, you're going to, and then
You'll be
your
pregnant and
poverty
you're lost forever.
life starts from there.
But you know, I'm amazed at how sensitive you are
I
to
was.
that.
I was.
Because it's not everybody in that age group would have thought that way.
I feared.
Is there something that made you think like that, or you are just a
me-
special
it's
rebellious
because of-
child from
no,
those days?
it's
Because
not.
that's amazing.
Okay, one thing I think it's God that had put this thing in me, but I also think my observation from my relatives and my age mates,
Yeah.
and those who had gone ahead of me, the kind of poverty they were going through, going to do, we would go for mabuti. I don't know, the mabuti, there are things, these we used to
These
call
are
it,
day-
you go
day
work
jobs.
on, work on
day
someone's
jobs.
farm, then you're paid, and then I hated to see them, young girls carrying kids.
get
Kids, actually,
finished.
they were kids carrying kids,
Yeah.
children carrying kids.
Yeah, because if you
to
marry
go-
with 15, goodness, you are a child.
Yeah, to go and work. Others were never came as far as class 8. They got children at class 6, class 7, class
Yeah.
8. And therefore, I think that is something that made me not to hate children.
Yeah.
I never hated children,
Yeah.
but I feared. I feared getting children when I was young, one thing, and not married.
And you saw what it did to your friends or your fellow girls
I
who
tell
got
you.
married and
So
got
so
kids.
I left there and I went to Meru, and I want to cut the long story short. I got employed in Meru in one family, stayed there for a few months, and then I left. I went to my third family now,
Okay.
and that is where my education journey came back.
Yeah.
Or let me call it my journey to Norway began.
Yeah.
And that was in 1995.
Okay.
I go to a place called Kaderi in Meru
Uh-huh.
to Mr. You allow me to mention them because these are parents
If
I
they are
love
okay
so
with
much.
it, why not? I'm sure
Yeah.
they've been mentioned in the books you've written already.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dad,
Okay.
Kabiti, he rested back in 2014. May he continue resting in peace. And my mom, Ruth Kabiti, I love them so much. And if someone happened to hear me, wasalimie sana, and tell them I love them so much because
And your mom is still alive.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
mom.
Mrs.
Okay.
Kabiti is
Mrs.
still-
Kabiti
is
is
still
still alive.
there.
We thank
So-
God. We give greetings to her. For
Yes,
taking you and
please,
making
yeah.
a wonderful person out of you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they I worked there for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then they decided, I think this girl has an
Something.
untapped potential.
Wow.
And mom, today I normally ask mom, and why did you think of giving me a second chance, and not on anything else, but specifically for education? And let me tell you, I cannot even remember, but she tells me that every time I saw anything paper-like, I would take and I would sit down and I would start reading.
Wow.
And after working for her for 3 years, she
Yeah.
decided I cannot keep this girl more. She has to go back to school.
Okay.
And I remember November of 1998, I had prepared just like house helps in Kenya do. You wake up and prepare breakfast for your masters, and I did the same, and I served them. And she called me back and asked me, Caroline, if you're given an opportunity, would you go back to school?
Wow.
I normally say that maybe, not maybe, I'm so sure that my life was figured out kitambo by God. It doesn't matter how many times it has taken.
Yeah.
But I think this was in the line of God's plan for me.
Yeah.
So I never thought. At that particular time, she's asking me whether I can go back to school. I'm already 19 years old.
Wow.
And I never even thought twice. I
Yeah,
said,
because it
Mom,
was always your desire.
as long as you're not going to involve my parents,
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to
I'm
school.
ready.
And she said, no, it is me who have asked you if you are going to go, you can
Yeah,
go back to school.
yeah.
So I'm not involving your parents in any way. Why I was afraid that my parents would be involved, I was afraid that they could say no. You know, still parents who had
And
you know,
at
they were
that
my
time
parents.
you were 19.
I was 19 years old, yeah. So, as if she was not joking actually. The following day, she just went to a nearby primary school and
And
booked
asked.
a seat for me for 1999 to go back to class 7.
Wow. And you had done class 8 already.
I had done class 8, but remember
Okay.
now, this is my 4th year outside
And it's
school.
been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. And then she told me, because you have decided to go back to school, I don't want you to stop at Form 4. I want you to bring me a degree. You know,
Hey!
you know those education. That's
Mrs. Kabiti,
you're
I clap for you wherever you are.
Yeah, she's a blessing. She's a blessing.
Oh my
So when
goodness,
she
but
asked
that's
me,
amazing.
it is.
Do you know there are not many people who have girls working for them who think so in a positive and constructive way about them?
Let me tell
That
you.
was your destiny helper, and God had, whoever believes in God or universal creator or whoever, that was all planned. Look
It
at
was.
all the shortcuts you're
It
having,
was.
or the ways that are leading to this.
Actually,
You know,
I
I'm
love them.
amazed.
I love them because
Wow.
the other places I had worked, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, we had our circles of households, and every family looked at thieves,
Yeah.
promiscuous,
Yeah, potential
you know,
husband snatchers.
you know.
Yeah.
And it saddens me today
Yeah.
to look back and think that every
Yeah.
needy child is a thief, is promiscuous, if
It's so
she's
sad.
working for you.
Yeah.
And these are people that have lacked an opportunity in life, yeah. And were it not that for that, they would be very, very
Talk
different
loud
people in the
about that.
society.
Yeah.
You know, and this is why, let me tell you, Agnes, even in my
Yeah.
village today, when I go back, even if I find a street boy,
Yeah.
even if I find a mad person in the village,
Yeah.
I love them and I treat them with
Respect, because you don't know the
I know,
story behind
and
their
I
lives.
know that were it not that these people lacked an opportunity, they would not be where they are.
Where they are.
Because I know that I was working as a house help because not because I was stupid. It's because I never had an opportunity
Oh, I
until
wish you
someone
could say
saw.
that even more louder for whoever.
Until
out there.
someone saw untapped potential,
Potential
and
in you.
and thought this seed will not just
Wow.
go in vain.
Yeah,
So then I went back to school, class 7.
amazing.
And it is that started a
Amazing.
very, very, very
Class
interesting
7
class
and you're
7,
19.
19.
And you
Remember,
must have really had a thirst
if you
for
come
school.
from Meru tribe and you know people who have gone through the rite of passage,
Yeah.
and now here I'm back to class 7. Someone who is
But
supposed
that's
to even
humility.
I'm
That's
studying
humility.
now with children.
You being, you actually.
But let me tell you
Huh?
another thing. I've come from Nanyuki, whereby that is accepted.
Yeah.
I come to Kaderi. Kaderi is
Where
more
it's not accepted.
Christianity,
It's
and
more Christian,
you know,
yeah.
it was not accepted. Who would want even to talk about that?
No, you never talk
You
about
hear
that.
people talking
I'm sure
about that, you
talk
are not
about
part
it.
of that.
Uh-uh,
No,
you don't
no,
know
me,
anything about
I
it.
don't know
Even me, I will
anything.
not say any. What is that?
What
I
is
don't
that?
know anything
know,
about
yeah.
it. Eh?
But by God's luck, I was small-bodied.
Yeah.
So I fit in well.
Very
Let me
well,
tell
even
you,
in the
you
school
could not,
uniform.
You could not tell.
That is so good. That's
You
wonderful.
could not tell, yeah. The only time I felt that I was old, I was the old one now,
Yeah.
was during going to school and coming from school. And the reason was because there this subculture in our village whereby young people would gather in a certain place and they are sitting doing nothing, and then they would whenever they saw me, because they knew I was a house help. Now they are seeing someone in a uniform, and
school
they say,
uniform,
hey, look
yeah.
at that grandmother.
Yeah.
She went back to school to humiliate
Imagine.
herself,
Imagine.
among the children. She's going to fail the exam. What will she say?
How did you deal with that? Because that's very demoralizing.
It was, but
And-
I remember
and it-
I talked to Mom, Mrs. Kabiti, and I've never now. I pray that I'll never forget how she made me feel.
Wow.
She told me, Caroline, I sent you to go to school. When you're going to school, don't look left or right, focus, go to school, come back.
Yeah.
And those young men there, ridiculing you.
Yeah.
One day you'll come with a Mercedes.
Yeah,
Mercedes.
that's what she said.
And
Dreams
you-
are valid.
You know, like you will.
I love
I
that
don't know how
woman.
to
I've
say-
never met her, but I love her already.
I don't know how it is put in English. I can put it in English. Yeah.
Yeah.
Utawarushia vumbi. You know.
Eh?
And it came.
And
to
I'm sure
pass.
she said
I
in
never.
Kimeru. It sounds even more nice in Kimeru.
I did, you know.
Uh-huh.
So okay, I've never driven a Mercedes, but the thing is, at some point, or even today, I normally go back to the village. And the young men those days now
Yeah,
they
they're
are
also
they are
older,
they're
yeah.
men, and you know, but there are people who, whenever they see me, they see possibilities. Yeah,
Yes.
they see potential. that should,
Potential,
you know,
yeah.
and then yeah, primary school I did well. I went to Kaga Girls.
You went to
For
Kaga.
those
Kaga
who
is one of the
can-
good girls'
yeah,
high schools
Kaga
there.
Girls. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a provincial school
Yeah,
those days.
yeah.
Today they are called counties and sub-counties and all those things. Yeah, and from there I did very well. I got a good grade that secured me a place at the University of Nairobi, and it was while at the University of Nairobi I got a scholarship to
Wow.
go to Norway. So that is how.
That is the
you know,
spring. Can you imagine if this woman would have looked? I'm talking to everybody who has house girls there, or house boys, or whatever you call them, watchmen, whatever. Stop looking down on people. These are potentials. Some of them are just untapped potential. Look at this lady. I'm amazed by your story. Aye, amazing, amazing. You cannot see it on me because I'm this melanin girl. You cannot see if I'm turning red or blue or gray, but I'm amazed. I'm amazed. No, it's amazing, and I wish our people would learn that. Really, stop looking down on people just because they came looking for a job at your place, as a house girl or house boy or shamba boy or whatever, because they have no other alternative.
Very true.
Don't. If you are able to help a young man, a young woman to achieve his goals or tap on that potential, help. Be that destiny helper.
Very true. Let me tell you, Agnes, we cannot help everyone in the world, but you can just help that one person.
That one
you can,
person.
and you'll change a generation. Because now my
Amazing.
kids and many other kids have
You've
benefited
challenged
from just that one family decided that they're going to educate only one person they were able to educate, and out of that many other people have benefited from that. So
Yeah.
whoever you can be able to help, it doesn't have to send people back to school. Look at them, talk to them, let them say what they can do best,
Yeah.
and empower them on that
Empower
line.
them how you
they are going
can.
to be a help in the society in many different
In
ways.
many ways.
Yes.
Now, you went, I see you, I can even, someone should make a movie. You're going to make a movie out of your life. No, there's so much material in that. There's so much inspiration
Sure.
in your story. There is so much challenges in that story. Someone should make a movie. Maybe one day I'll be rich.
Maybe
I
one
can
day.
do this. But my friend, I love the story until there already. You went from being that girl who could not continue with school because you were supposed to marry and you did not marry. One thing, would you be comfortable to talk about this rite of passage? Because some people may not understand what you mean.
Well, yeah, rite of passage for girls, yeah, it's just the same as rite of passage for
boys.
boys, yeah, whereby they are circumcised and they are
They're
prepared.
circumcision.
They are prepared into adulthood, and this was the same rite of passage we went through.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, at that time, I'm sure you thought it's normal.
No,
Has your feelings changed about it, how you look at it now?
Let me tell you, that time I remember actually in our village we had one woman who was the circumciser, and our relatives who used to live far, they used to be brought to my mom's house. That is where they used to be circumcised. So for us,
okay.
we grew knowing and expecting
was normal.
that it was normal every time. It used to be done when girls finished class 8.
8, yeah.
So even as when we are growing up, we knew that the day we are going to do our
Finish class
exam,
8,
yeah,
that
we
is
will
waiting.
go through that, and we are looking forward. And why we are looking forward to that is because our friends who used to be circumcised before us, because there are those who got circumcised at class 6 or class 7, if they
Yeah.
had siblings who had done class 8, and some parents would choose, let them just
All
you know,
together, yeah.
we finished that, and they would stop talking to us, and they would get a certain status in the society, even in the family level. You're treated differently, and expectation changes, yeah,
Yeah.
and therefore for us it was not whether or not. The thing was we
Yeah.
were supposed to go through that.
Yeah.
And we were not let me say, there was no preparation. I cannot remember our parents sitting us down and telling us,
This is gonna happen.
Girls, you become of age, this will happen. No.
You just
But
knew
we
it,
knew.
and it will happen, and
we
you
knew
accepted it.
And I remember that evening, before the actual practice taking place the following day,
Yeah.
I started seeing my aunties coming, and I knew, my day has come.
It's the day.
And I was so glad, because
You were excited.
I was excited because I was finally, I'm going to be,
I'm
you know,
really a coward, like my grandmother used to say.
you know,
Because I would have run away. Sorry.
I know, because
Oh, God.
because this was something that was attached to many other
Yeah.
things.
And those days, I would say it was different. The perception of the whole thing
Yeah, it
was
was
different.
It
Yeah.
was it was different. So you asked me whether I would advocate for it today.
How you see it today, because you are a mother of girls.
I have
very
three girls.
beautiful, 3 beautiful girls,
to
and
be
so
su-
that would have been the
Yeah.
next question. How? That's why I asked how you see it now.
Yes, to be sure, if I as Caroline, I'm a Christian, and I know it is not allowed from a Christianity perspective, but apart from even Christianity perspective, medically, biologically, and everything else,
Yeah.
it is not good,
It's not practical.
And I came to realize that all these other marembeshos, I call them marembeshos, you know, all the stories,
Yeah.
all the stories that you're told,
Around
you know,
it,
to make
yes.
it appealing, they were somehow misleading, but I don't blame them. If you look at it from an anthropological perspective, every community does whatever it does because there are some meanings attached to them.
Oh, yes.
And it is not
Say
wrong.
that loud.
You know, it is not
In that
wrong
context.
In that context, But when you know, and especially from the medical perspective, and many other things, you realize it was not beneficial in other
For
way
you,
apart from cultural way.
Yeah.
Cultural way.
You got
because-
another ranking.
ranking,
Yeah.
and also meeting the expectation of the custodians of the culture.
Of the
Because
culture,
if you
norms,
read
yeah.
the research on FGM,
Yeah.
and I don't like calling it FGM, mostly when I'm looking at it from the cultural perspective,
whatever,
I like calling it
The right of
female
person.
circumcision,
Okay.
because the custodian of this culture were men.
Yeah.
Because it was men who were demanding for circumcised girls to be married.
Okay. I
And
never
therefore,
looked at
women,
it like that.
women had never had a choice. They had to prepare. It's like just the rule of the market, demand and supply. You supply the good that are on demand in the market.
Sure.
The same case,
Sure.
women were supplying
It
circumcised
sounds like a
girls to
good
the
business
women.
model, but I will not start it.
But now, when you look at it, it has no any other value.
Yes.
For a woman.
Apart from the cultural.
You know, like Somalis, they say a woman that is not circumcised, even Meru, they believe that she's not clean. But cleanliness does not maintain by
anything to
being
do with that.
circumcised. It is through water.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Therefore, there are many ways you can dismiss all this.
It was all a mystic and spiritual thing, yeah.
Marembeshos, therefore, I don't advocate for it, but neither do I blame communities that are doing that,
Yeah.
and especially communities that are not exposed, because
Yeah.
the only way
That's a very
I've been
important
following
point.
up on this WHO
Yeah.
vision for zero tolerance for FGM,
Yeah.
and not unless communities doing that are involved,
It
they
will
are
not work anyway.
exposed, because you cannot, if this is the only thing I know, you as an outsider coming and
come and
telling
tell me it is wrong.
But now that if you give these children education, they go out there, they realize
learn.
there are other women who are not circumcised, they become good wives, good mothers, and you know, and you don't have to be circumcised to be prepared to be an adult.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
don't have to be, you know, to be done all those things, to know what it is to be a wife, because one of the things, a myth is that when you go through that pain in marriage, you're going to be able to bear the pain of giving birth and all those challenges
Yeah,
that
you're
are
told
in
all
marriages.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
but there are many things that can help us to cope up with all those things without
Yeah,
having
yeah.
gone
There
through
are
that.
other systems in place to help you cope with
Yes,
that. Yeah.
yes. So we may deviate from the main topic, yeah,
But this is so important. I'm glad we're talking about it, because I don't think I've heard anyone talk so openly. I've read read the book, The Desert Rose, from this Somali
guy
lady,
based in the
and
UK.
it's so drastically.
Yeah.
The story is so drastic that I never went through it, but I got traumatized just reading the book.
No, it
And that
is.
was my next question. Yeah, how do you deal with the trauma? Maybe at that time you didn't see it as a trauma, maybe, but physically it is a.
No, let me tell you, up to date, yeah, I don't think it left me with any trauma.
Okay, that's a very
I
interesting
remember
aspect.
the pain.
Very
But
very interesting aspect.
Yeah, because the pain was meant to prepare me, remember?
For other pains that would
my
come in your life.
pain was seen as a positive thing.
Yeah.
I think it would have been sad if I never experienced pain, because I would think then the practice never
Helped you in any
achieved
way.
its goal. And for me, the way I've learned in life, on coping mechanism, is that if something was not under my control,
Yeah,
I may not want it to control me,
yeah.
and therefore I don't feel any trauma as a result.
Okay,
I'm
glad to hear that.
I've had
I
people
was
say,
almost saying I will be praying for you.
the only thing that I've had people saying,
Yeah.
during my masters, actually I am a social worker by profession. During my bachelor's, my final bachelor paper I wrote on FGM.
Okay.
And because I wanted, and actually I think I did that out of conflicting
In you, because you're.
conflicting understanding, because
Yeah.
when I was growing up, it was a positive thing. Then
And then you come to a world where it's
from
completely
a Christian
negative.
perspective, then when I moved to Meru,
Yeah.
this thing was ungodly.
Yeah.
And then when I came to the Western world, then this was
It's
a
even
mutilation.
worse. Yeah, it's even worse.
It was worse. It is mutilation. It was abuse, and I was like, hiya. So I was abused. I was mutilated.
You were motivated.
No one who said I was circumcised.
Sorry, but
I was mutilated.
the way
Yeah?
this is so interesting. I'm even forgetting we wanted to talk about Norway, but now this is so interesting. Continue, please.
Yeah.
I
And
want to
therefore,
hear this.
I wrote that
These
paper,
conflicts.
and I thank God I did, because I got to understand all the aspects of FGM.
Yes.
I got to understand even more types of FGM. There are more than 5 types of FGM, and I thank God I went through
the mild one. Yeah,
because
I've heard of
Kikuyus,
terrible.
They are terrible, like the one from the Roses, from that lady
that
from
is
the UK.
terrible. They
Or another,
removed everything and sewed it
I
up.
tell you. And
God
then
of mercy.
there's also another documentary done from Nairobi called The Day I'll Never Remember.
Really?
You
I've
watch
not.
it,
I only
you
read that
cry.
one, and I was traumatized from
It
reading. I
is-
never read
it
any
is-
other
it
book
is
about this topic.
traumatizing, yeah. So I wrote so that because I wanted to understand, and I remember when I was writing the paper, I would read how people they had their own. I don't know whether they are the papers were scientific, yeah, but simply because by the time I was sexually active, I was already circumcised. Yeah,
Yeah.
I cannot compare
Yeah.
sex.
Yeah, because you don't know it
Sex
before any different. Yeah.
before and
Okay.
after.
Yeah,
But
that's also an
things that-
important point.
But things that I read, and I hear many people talking when they think about
FGM, you have no
FGM,
feeling anymore. Everything is
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. So for
Yeah.
me, I think there are a lot of misconception.
Okay.
Because again, sexual pleasure for a woman, it doesn't.
not
need
just
to be,
genital.
genital.
Yeah.
So there are many other things that make you enjoy sex.
Yeah.
The only thing that even today I've never understood, when I was getting my first child, I got a very, very bad tear.
Oh,
And
and
I
it's
got
hard
my-
to heal because of the scars.
I got all my children in Norway, so you cannot say it was medical negligence.
Okay.
But when I asked my gynecologist, why did I get this bad tear? And I remember the way they just told me casually, because I had to be taken to theater to be, she said, but you're circumcised, but you're circumcised. And
But that's not the only reason.
and that's not the only reason, because there are other women who get that 4th grade tear and they're not circumcised.
Yeah.
But maybe they say women that are circumcised may experience those bad tears because muscles were interfered with, and now there is no elasticity when you're giving birth. So that the only thing probably I may connect with
and that's what you said about the medical aspect of
now the mutilation. But let me tell you where mutilation comes from. When you look at the Somalis and Pokot from Kenya,
generally the Arabic world,
the way they do it, that is mutilation, because they remove all the external and then they sew and they leave like a hole for
even peeing becomes a problem.
Yes, that one is mutilation. And this is why that makes the desert rose a very, 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 very
I read that book, and then you were 15 when that happened. Yes. That girl was 3 years or 4 years.
They do it when the children are very small.
I'm like, and I can understand when she talks about trauma, because that is definitely traumatizing.
It is. And there are those women who, if the sewing comes out, they are redundant again. So it is.
And let me tell you also one aspect that I had, which was, for me, I thought I was so lucky. It's good that my grandmother always called me, because she was also a circumciser. She was circumcising girls in my village, and me, I didn't get to go under this process.
You are lucky.
She always called me a coward. I thank God I was a coward.
You're lucky to escape your grandmother's
yes. My grandmother's because I lived up north in Kenya, and I think either the Rendile or the Samburu, the girl has to be circumcised long before. But if you don't get circumcised, you're not allowed to be married before. So if in case your parents did not do this right before, and you get married, you have to be circumcised, and you don't know how long your husband will wait.
Very true.
So these girls go through hell, some of them.
That is a common thing with
you get Kenya. And so I'm someone who likes to just not face the reality like this. Sometimes realities are just too hard.
From northern part of Kenya before, but now because of community sensitization, before if a girl would get a child, before you are circumcised, the child used to be killed. Uncircumcised girl was not allowed to give birth to a child.
Because you're not clean, and your child will not be clean.
How can you give birth to, as an uncircumcised woman? It used to be very. Watch a documentary called the Beads of Bondage, done from those communities.
Okay.
Rich with information.
But I think we have to have another show about this. This is amazing.
But one thing probably we would want to leave our listeners with is that whenever you have an opportunity to do something about it, do it, because even today, that practice is being done, but at the community face level,
it's not being done.
That circumcision, especially among the Kikuyus and Merus, people think that they stopped. But
it's there.
Girls are still being subjected to that practice.
Not just in those communities, but it is there.
It is,
Lady, I need to digest that. So let's make a short break, and then we will continue soon. Guys, be ready for more stuff. Let's learn next about Norway.
This is the one.
Aggies Live Talk Show.
The only underground radio station.
This is Radio Ara. This is Overhits. All of African music. The listeners agree. The message is clear. Here we go. The best radio station to listen to this year.
It's the best.
It's the best music.
Best tunes. Because they got the best music.
Live from Stuttgart City, Germany.
99.2 Radio Ara FM.
Your home of African music.
We play only your choice.
Ya, unaitwa Bile Voba, mtaalamu fundi manyumba Baba Levo, also bwana.
Naitwa Akil the Brain mzee wa Bongo Bangra Regina.
Prince Dully Sykes kutoka Tanzania.
Naitwa Dabo Mtanzania original vampire general, na represent reggae dancer Ragamuffin pamoja na Afrobeats kutoka Dar es Salaam Tanzania.
Yo, mambo vipi? Mada is hapa.
Yo, so what up everybody? My name is Otuk William, all the way from Makini Records, Tanzania, East Africa.
Yo,
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Eli the boy Kipimo, au sio?
It's your boy Rasco Tembo, Rasco Nembo, makanka la kiboko proper vampa, nisiye nyonya damu za watu.
Rosary unaisikiliza kupitia 99.2 Radio R inayopatikana Germany.
Your number one best radio station, 99.2 Radio R.
Mambo vipi, naitwa Mimi Mars aka the Sugar Queen kutoka East Africa, Tanzania, kupitia 99.2 FM Radio R. Enjoy.
Naitwa Stopper the Rhyme Maker, the bad rapper, the RCD Dan Dada.
Watu wangu kupitia 99.2 Radio R live from Germany.
Yeah, this is Linux Sandem Jada.
Naitwa Matan, msanii wa nyimbo za kizazi kipya nchini Tanzania.
Hello, mambo vipi, what's up? Naitwa Lina Sanga all the way from 255 Tanzania.
Yeah, ni Zedanto hapa ndani ya Radio R.
Yo, tunaitwa Africa Music.
Yo, bwana inakuaje watu wangu, Risho Boy Izo Business live and direct kutoka Mbeya City. Unasikiliza Radio R au sio 99.2 au vipi bwana?
99.2 FM.
99.2 FM.
Live from Stuttgart City, Germany.
Only underground radio station.
This is Radio R.
This is all the hits.
Yeah. All of African music.
This is the one.
Aggies live talk show.
The one.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on. Those things are hard to digest sometimes, but I'm glad we have the right person to explain to us things like the rite of passage and all that. We've had an interview with her before. She was not live in studio but live online, and we talked about a bit of her life that time. I'm glad she's here in studio and she can tell us now about her life in Norway, because as you heard how she started and all the steps she led us. And now I want to know, after you went to Nairobi University,
Yep.
you say Nairobi University or University of Nairobi, what is correct, whichever. From there, tell us.
University of Nairobi.
University of Nairobi.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is a product of University of Nairobi, now living in Norway, Miss Chemna Talks, or whatever you want to call yourselves. But I'm so honored to have you. I think I would like to have you even another show, because I think there's so much we can learn from your story, so much inspiration. And I am glad that you don't keep all that to yourself, because you never know how many people are in a situation that you passed already and you made it. People don't realize how important it is to tell their life story, because it can inspire maybe one person, maybe 100, maybe more. But if you keep it for yourself, no one will know. They'll see you, they think, oh, this girl was always successful, always having a wonderful life and all that. They don't know until you talk about it. And I'm so glad you talk about it. You talk about it in books. You've had also some shows done with you in Kenya, and I think here in Europe as well. I did a show with you, but you are not in studio. And now tell us about from the time from Nairobi University, how you got to Norway. What have you been doing in Norway? What is good and bad in Norway? What are the do's and don'ts in Norway? But that one will be the last question I'll ask. Tell us.
Okay, thank you so much again. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. For sure, there's power in a lived story.
Yeah.
When you tell people things that you yourself have gone through, they have a huge impact. Than theoretical, scientific, theoretical based, tips and how to motivate people, to tell people how to go about stuff. So when you have gone through stuff yourself and tell people how you did it, so there's a power in a lived story. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share.
I'm so honored to have you here.
Yes, and I'm glad to. I remember that day we struggled to have me online, but it never worked. I was just online through audio.
Now they can see you and how beautiful you are. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. So, at the University of Nairobi, I was doing social work, and I was during my second year that we got to know about an exchange program that had already started, but there was only one group ahead of us that had gone to Norway through the same department. So we were the second lot. And then we are advised to apply, and then the applications were sent to a certain college called Volda University in Norway, University College in Norway, and then they made selection. We were about 35 applicants, but they needed only 3 students. So I happened to be among the 3 students that got that scholarship. So that is how I got to Norway. I never got an opportunity, not got an opportunity. I never completed my program at the Nairobi University of Nairobi, because then I was supposed to go, but I went there as a student of University of Nairobi, because that program used to only take students from institutions. So I went to Norway. Agnes, at this particular time, I went to the university when I did my Form 4 when I was 25 years.
Okay, amazing.
During our time, we used to wait for 2 years.
Yeah.
So by the time I'm joining the university, I had already turned 27.
Oh my God.
Then I
was already married with 24.
Then I'm there for 3 semesters.
Yeah.
I had completed my first year, then I had done my first year, my first semester, second year.
Yeah.
Then I got this opportunity. I'm supposed to go to Norway. So by the time I'm going out to Norway, I'm already 29. Then I get to Norway, or when these papers came to sign, I had to commit myself that I'm accepting the scholarship under condition that when I get to Norway, I will first of all do the language, and then start my bachelor's all over. So there was no transfer
from
of credits.
afresh.
Yeah. And because when you weigh, which side weighed better, well, so I chose to accept the scholarship. So I went to Norway, started by doing the language here, and then from that I continued. Now I started my bachelor's afresh. At that particular time, I've already greeted 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that is when
as an African woman,
that is where I started now feeling both internal, external, I don't know, whatever pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure for myself, pressure from outside.
The expectation. Remember, in the rite of passage, you are being prepared to be a wife.
And now it is becoming.
And now it's that 15 years later, you're still not there.
And I'm choosing education, but now this is becoming complicated. Yeah? My friends are already married. They have my age mates
in teenage age children.
Actually, now I cannot even talk about my age mates in Nanyuki. But now even the people that we went to school with, the ones I joined.
Yeah.
By the time I'm finishing 25 years, they are small. Then at my 30s, they are on their 25s. Yeah. This is when they are getting married and all those. And I'm here starting my bachelor's afresh.
Lady.
So it was a season of life that it was full of confusion and not what to do. But one thing remained. My education was a must to complete. And then I had to do what I needed to do at that particular time. So I do my language here, I start my bachelor's, I don't know whether I dated or I get someone, I get married, I started giving birth, and another long story started, because now I did my bachelor's and master's in a period of 10 years, because I had to take breaks to give birth and
in between,
it was tough, but I made it. I thank God. So so that is when now I did my bachelor's. Then by the time I'm doing my first bachelor's, I had my firstborn, and then I had to defer for 1 year. I got maternity leave. So, and then I got to masters. During the masters, I got to more kids. I took another 5 years for my masters. So I'm finishing my masters when I'm 40.
Wow. Ladies out there, it's never too late.
It is never too late.
It's never too late.
But the good thing about studying in Norway, immediately after the language, I started working as an untrained caregiver.
Okay.
And I was under scholarship, so I was getting my scholarship money. I was getting money from my now part-time job. So actually, I was lucky, because I would say, since I moved to Norway. I think the only year I never worked is during my first language year.
Okay.
Because in Norway, again, without the language, it is very, very, very difficult. But people who live in cities, big cities like Oslo, capital city, and other large cities, they can work in hospitality industry.
Okay.
It's a tough industry, but you can manage without the language.
Okay.
But any other thing without the language in Norway, it is very, very difficult.
What do you speak in Norway?
We speak Norwegian.
Norwegian.
Yes, it's called Norwegian. Norwegian language.
Norwegian. Guys, if you want to go to Norway, you have to learn Norwegian. Is it a must you learn outside the country? You have a chance of coming without learning. Like
no, during our during our time, students had an opportunity to go to Norway and study there, because when you study,
it sounds like she's talking Gaelic. Are you sure you're talking Norwegian? Guys, forgive me, I'm just nosy, but it sounds very comfortable. It doesn't sound very aggressive like German. German is aggressive a bit. But this one sounds really a bit, like a sing-song.
Singing.
Like you're singing.
Yeah, but again, it depends on where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I studied, in Norway, they have two formals Norwegian. They have one that is called Bokmål, which is the one that we learn all of
like the High German.
Immigrants,
Okay.
But they also have another one that is official called Nynorsk.
Okay.
Like New Norwegian, yeah.
Okay.
It is formal. It is accepted in schools that you can write your exam in it.
Okay.
But now Norway generally has only one language, Norwegian language, but it is spoken in different dialects. Like I lived on west part of Norway. I moved down to north, and when I went to north, they would speak, and I would wonder, is it the same Norwegian
what you learned or not?
Been speaking you're speaking until you tune your ears to hearing and tune your tongue to speak it.
I like it. It sounds quite friendly. I hope that people are friendly like their language sounds like,
Yes. So if anyone want to come to Norway, actually the only way to succeed in Norway is through learning the language. Once you learn the language, you are able to access the job market, and then unemployment rate in Norway, it is below 3%.
Oh, really?
Inclusive of people with special needs, people that cannot work because of health issues.
Yeah.
So no is good, but the language, you don't have a shortcut.
The language.
language
in most of the European, generally anywhere in the world, if you really want to arrive, you need the language. And I don't understand people who will live for 10 years, 20 years in a country and they don't speak the language of that place.
That I have seen majority of immigrants, but these are people who especially refugees. Some of them are sent to Norway when they are already in their 50s, and it is not easy
and it's
for them.
difficult to learn the language.
They survive through the social welfare, but because they are taken care of. Yeah, Agnes, that is how I ended in Norway. And I studied social work both on my bachelor level and master's level. And currently I work as I'm a social worker, but I'm referred to as I would call it as environmental therapist. I work with special needs.
Okay.
And our work is to make sure that adults, persons with special needs, they live a normal life. They live a normal life. We use the environment to reduce the hindering, factors so that they can go to work. Because in Norway, everyone must go to work. Doesn't matter what kind of impairment you have, but they are sent. The thing is, they are integrated in community, in job market,
which is
in
so
schools,
good.
And that is why social work in Norway is very, very, very important. We work in the majority of social workers work there, but in Norway they also have another degree on its own. It's a combination of social work and nursing that specifically now is tailor-made for special needs, whereby they specialize on or special needs and they can administer medicine. But us as social workers, we can only we are trained to give medicine, but our work is mainly to work environment, like reduce the hindering, especially when you look at persons with autism. They can be very, very challenging to integrate, but how do we as social workers
integrate them?
To go to work and be able to handle, that environment and work. But working for them, they're supported by the government. So work for them is does not necessarily you'll go there and work. Is that you're out there?
You are there.
Majority of them work in cleaning industries, whereby they clean hospitals, clothes, they iron, they pack, and then they are delivered. Others, and you make them go out there and do something. Others you get job for them in supermarkets. Even if they go there and work for 30 minutes, they have worked and they're given
but
salaries.
They're working.
They're given salaries.
And it also improves their self-worth feeling.
Yes.
I'm needed in the society. I'm doing something for myself. I'm earning my own money.
What I love about it is that they have a structured day. They know tomorrow I'm waking up, I'm going to school. Tomorrow I'm waking up, I'm going to work. For them, it is very important. And they know if you don't go to work, you're not going to get the money, because they know you are able to live, because at the end of the month you're given salary, and it is this salary, although they are given houses by the government, but they paid. They are given the money and they pay. So they live just like a normal
very nice.
In the society.
That's amazing.
It is, and I love it.
So Norway is an amazing. I have learned something. Oh, I'm glad you're here.
And that is why, working in that particular field, I respect our people back home who have children or adults with these impairments, because I know how it feels, what it takes to take care of those people. And therefore, if you're out there and you have a relative back home that has a child or an adult with those special needs, respect them and support them in any way that you can. And not necessarily money. You can even go there and tell them, I'm going to just give you a breathing room. Tell them to take care of the children or the adults so that they can rest. It's a lot of work.
I can imagine.
Psychologically, physically, it takes everything from the caregiver.
But I can imagine in the society then there are very few people with special needs roaming the streets of Norway, because the government is so organized and is taking care of them, is integrating them. Oh, I look forward to the day that will happen in our countries back, in our beloved continent. May God help us. Now, the issue is you did your bachelor and you did your master's, and you're working in that area. Your opinion, what is your opinion? Which degree now, like if I want to come and study there, what would you advise a foreigner? It would be the most profitable direction to go with studies and everything like that.
Thank you.
What is more needed?
Because of that, for that question, because many people have been helping people who want to come to Norway to identify courses and also colleges where to come, and also give them information. And for the immigrants, when you're coming to Norway to study, you have to have the end in mind before you start your journey.
Yes.
Ask yourself, I want to go to study in Norway. In Norway, they don't speak English, so you're coming to learn the language. And then you ask yourself, what degree am I going to study? Because actually, for you to access the job market also, it is determined by the
qualifications you have.
The type of study that you're going to take, the program you study.
Okay.
There are some studies you will study. They might be marketable, but for the locals, when you apply for the same job as an immigrant, because in every job application I see, they require that you have to have a very good command of Norwegian written and spoken. And if you apply for the same job with a local, of course,
they have an advantage.
And then that is how majority of us are selected against. But the government has some rules to make sure that even immigrants are given opportunities, irrespective of their command of the language. And therefore, it is very good. Don't just come to Norway just to study.
Just anything, because I think many of us do that mistake.
If you want to probably establish yourself in Norway, you have to really identify a program that will help you to access the job market without a lot of hassle. And some of the courses are like in healthcare.
Okay.
Like healthcare, you come to study nursing, you come to study like social work actually, and social work might be it's easier with a foreign language than the nursing, but still people come. I normally say if Somalis are coming and they are studying medicine these days, you know, I work part-time at a hospital and I see a lot of Somalis coming there as doctors to specialize and all those things, and it makes me happy because this is what we are saying.
Exactly.
Sometimes you may marginalize a community because they have never been given this opportunity, and people are making it. So medicine or healthcare, or social
in medical
sciences,
area,
you know, and stuff like engineering, IT. Those are
very marketable even here.
Those are areas that you never struggle to get a job, you know. But there's some studies you do, and also actually today there are many people who have done theology, getting jobs, you know, because there are no preachers. Locals are no longer.
They refuse to believe.
they are no longer.
So that's a career thing. So I can come there and become a pastor.
Actually, many there are many Kenyans.
Job opportunity.
There are very many Kenyans working in Norway as priests, you know, so that's another area that is creating job opportunities for
very
interesting. And you know, there's one university called MF that trains pastors and all those. You can study other things, but it is known for that. For that, many students from there get job in priesthood, you know. So because in the near future, I think Norway will either close churches due to lack of
in Germany we are closing them, making them to discos and cinema halls and everything. Because many people don't go and it's expensive to keep the buildings.
So it is sad, but if people can also tap on that, they come. The theology programs they are offered by private institution, but government sponsored.
Really?
As per last year, education in Norway has always been free from class 1 to the whatever level you want to go. But last year was the third or fourth time they were introducing a motion in the parliament to introduce education for international students. The status of that motion, as per now, is that every institution will decide the amount every international student is going to be paid. So for now, we don't know. The next academic year starts from 2023 August. Because academic year runs from August to June. So until then, I may not tell how much it may cost you to come to study.
So people, have you heard? It may cost you to study there. Before it was not being paid, but things are changing.
And we were really hoping, because every other time that motion was introduced, it was defeated, because Norway is a very small country, population-wise. They struggle with human capital.
How many?
We are 5 million.
Why that's small?
Just like
Germany is 81 million.
It's a very small country.
Oh my!
And
5 million.
They struggle with human capital, and they depend a lot, especially in healthcare. They depend a lot on immigrants and hospitality industry and construction industry. So them blocking international, I don't know how many international students would be able to raise more than 2.5 M per year.
And I would say they are trying to target on people from the south, our side, not coming.
Mostly from they call them students from outside EU. And these are people from the developing countries. So majority of them will be locked out, but Norway also will suffer. Norway will suffer because you realize that when these people come to study there, they are absorbed in the job market. Who benefits at the end of the day?
Exactly.
They are the ones.
The countries don't benefit because many don't go back.
Many don't go back, and this is what those who know what they are doing have been always raising as an issue as to why they should not introduce school fees, so that they can tap from that. Otherwise, let me tell you, like now, I work in a certain hospital there. And they depend a lot on nurses who are brought by agents, and they are paid like almost twice more than the local nurse. And therefore a lot of money go to those outsiders. So if they can tap on this international student, give them an opportunity to go and study, and then they absorb them, then they will save a lot of money. But we wait and see how 2023-2024 academic year will go. If it doesn't go well, they might undo their decision.
Oh my goodness, guys, you've heard. So if you're preparing, hurry before the motion is passed in the parliament.
Yeah, sure.
So and if you are thinking of Norway, you've heard it. Take your chance now and hurry your preparations.
Yeah, sure.
So me, I'm going to look if I can be pastor there. Do you think they'll take me? Anyway, guys, we are talking with Chemna Talks, as she calls herself in Facebook. And you have been an inspiration. I mean, I read your story and I'm like, oh my goodness, what an amazing lady, what you've gone through. And someone is saying here, do you need graphic design services? You have to contact who? For all your creative design and branding needs, event posters and flyers, company profiles, business cards, logo designs, roll-up banners. Contact their number +49 163 728 6573. So Galaxy Inc. Graphics, they are speaking to you out there. If you need these services, don't miss it. Remember, we are on Radio R. We are talking with Chemna Talks, and this is Aggie's Live Talk Show. And we've had heavy topics today. My goodness, I'm still digesting. I have to shut off my mind that I don't digest while we are still talking, because there's a lot of questions I would like to ask. But it's very, very inspiring. I really never got into details to know much about Norway. I'm surprised. 5 million people? Yes. Germany has 81 million, maybe even more now.
Because it's small.
Huh?
No, it's small.
It's so tiny.
But well structured.
I saw it even places where there is no land, there are only rocks. But the houses are perfect, the bridges are perfect. That's one thing we have to learn how they do this. We have the material, but we don't do all these things.
Management of resources. And no corruption. Fighting corruption.
Really?
And I normally say it doesn't matter how much resources you have, as long as corruption is there. Then you cannot develop.
Now, my dear, I know I would like to talk about a lot of things, but I'm going to try to finish up because we have only 9 minutes, and then there will be the next show. What are the do's and don'ts? Even we will not talk about your being, because I think we touched on it on the other show. So what are the do's and don'ts of living in Norway? What should I avoid as a foreigner, as an African diaspora, and what should I do? I should not miss doing it.
Actually,
what do you tell us?
I would want to start with what you should do, because I think what we should do is what we don't do. And that is why people fear or they give misleading information. And the first thing to do when you go to Norway is to get relevant information that concerns your situation from the right sources.
From the right sources.
Agnes,
That's tricky.
I talk with some people who are in the middle of a crisis and all those things, and they are telling you, according to my situation, I had. They never found information for themselves.
They did not research themselves in the right places.
And one thing I like about Norway, every information, the right and correct and the relevant information, it's always on the, either if it concerns your rights and immigration and everything. They are
open for you. There's nothing hidden.
From the immigration website, and these are the people you can call, write to them, and they'll give you the right information, tailor-made for you, customized for your situation. Because where we go wrong as foreigners in Norway and probably in other countries is that we go and put ourselves in the same basket. And when you find yourself in a certain situation, instead of finding the right information, you just deal with your situation from how other people have dealt with it. And I'll give you a good example of because we face crisis as foreigners, and we are protected by the same law. And I remember I've been having a very, very, very sensitive case of a Kenyan couple. Whereby they had their misunderstanding, and one of the parents took the child and took the child to Kenya to punish the other one because that parent
That's
wanted
kidnapping.
the other one to be taken to home.
Yeah.
And when this guy was told, talk to Caroline, she's a social worker, she may be able to help you. And then the guy was telling me, those things I had. Actually, what I did, I told him, go to the immigration website, read about
find the information.
Find the information. And let me tell you, that guy is still there. The person who had taken the child to Kenya was ordered by the government because the government protects everyone irrespective of them of your status or where you're coming from. And the child was taken back to Norway, and the guy was never deported because that was what the other partner wanted. So that is to tell you that ignorance is very bad and it is very dangerous.
Guys, get information from the right sources.
It makes you miss out on many opportunities, or you end up
even doing a very stupid mistake in life.
So the first thing, get the right information from the right sources and connect yourself with the right people. Tap from them because people are there, they are willing to help. We have a KIN is an association of Kenyans in Norway. So when you get there, you connect with that organization, you will be helped every step of the way in integrating yourself in Norway. Then what not to do?
What not to do? That is always very important because as we are very we are very creative, don't looking for solutions the way we should not.
Don't be on the wrong side of the law. There is no sorry. There is no something like apology.
There's no apology. There's no feelings for you or why you did it or whatever.
And no way people should know you cannot hide in the system. And let me tell you, and because some of the time people ask us, you just tell me to come there. I can work. I can do cleaning. In Norway, even cleaning, you have to do it the right way. No company, of course, there are Romanians or other immigrants who have their cleaning company that they may give you a job, but you lose at the end of the day. They tell you, I'll give you 100 for 1 hour, krona, that is about 1,000 Kenyan shilling, but you're not going to pay the tax, but this money will not reflect in the system. You know why you lose? You lose because this money will not reflect in your pension. You lose because every June, Norwegian government give everyone who has been working 12% of your gross
taxes
earning.
back.
No, your gross earning for last year.
Really?
For your holiday, so that you can have a paid holiday. So if someone tells you to give you a black job, you lose.
You're losing.
Majority of us think, I'm not going to be paying the tax.
But you're losing more than the tax you would have paid.
Yes, and but very few will agree to have such those kind of arrangements. And the other thing is, if you're caught, my friend, you'll be in trouble. You'll be in trouble. So avoid being on the wrong side of the law. Actually, that is what I would
avoid being on the wrong side of the law. That's a very important thing. I think this is something that we need to know everywhere when we are in a foreign country. Even in our own countries, we know what it costs to be on the wrong side of the law.
But in our country, people know that they can
we have corruption. You can
they
give
can
the
buy
officer, let me scratch your hand.
Sure.
But that is one thing that I think the misconceptions that people have. They think the way they left home is how they will find in these other countries. But it is not like that. It is not like that.
So I was saying that people should stop telling people, please help us to get there. We are going to find our ways out. Like in Norway, you have your own allocated doctor. If you get sick, you cannot be treated if you don't have a doctor. And in some situations, they ask you for passport. If you're extended, you stay there. So the one who invited you will get in trouble. And then you're going to spoil for everyone. So when people don't help you to relocate to those countries you dream or to go to, know that there are other complications that probably someone may not necessarily explain to you. So be kind. Be kind. People can be harsh on us who are in diaspora because they think that you refuse to help them. But there are many systemic issues that may may hinder us from helping.
This is so important, because sometimes we think, this one is not willing to help me, that's why she's not, she's not, but it's because these systems are more complicated than you may think. Just because
they're more straight.
Yeah,
if you don't
more
meet
straight, more organized.
They
have more details about you than you even have about you.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
So you think you are under the water, no one knows or whatever, or you can go underwater. But how long? Okay, some people manage even for many years to go under chini ya maji, under the water, but it's not a comfortable life. My friend, talk to people who have done that. Let them tell you the truth. And those who try to paint everything nice, which is not nice, just to make others believe you are in heaven and they're in hell. Please, let us learn to be truthful, not?
Very true.
Because it would be mean you make everything, paint everything so nice, and then it's not the reality. And someone comes and then they are stranded, or they think, oh my goodness, this is hell. This is hell.
Sure.
I didn't expect it.
Very many people come. You tell people, if you have a good job back home and you're not planning to live in Norway, just think twice. But some people just decide to just come and test waters, and they become frustrated because of the language, and by the time they realize that it is not how they thought it is too late, and they end up going home and having wasted resources, wasted time.
And some get depression, some get really mental issues from that, because it's also traumatizing. And then also at home you may come back and they look at you like, oh my goodness, where are you coming from? Where did you go even? My friend, guys, this is Aggie's Live Talk Show. We've had this special lady from Norway, and you can always find her. Now, before we close, because we have only 1 minute, maybe less than a minute. Even that minute is over. But tell us how we can get you. And tell us about your books, because I even did not talk about the books. This lady has been writing books because she's very well educated. The potential is flowing out finally. Thank you, Mrs. Kabiti.
Mrs.
Kabiti.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The potential is flowing.
Yeah, very
and
true.
Keep it up. Keep writing books. Keep informing us. Keep inspiring us. But tell us, books. How many books? Where do we get them? How do we get in touch with you? On social media or private, wherever?
Yeah.
Maybe someone is looking for someone to date. Tell us.
Thank you, Agnes. Actually, I decided to maintain only one social media platform where people can reach me, and that is Facebook under the username Chemna Talks. You can inbox me there, and then we can get in touch if you need all information pertaining studies in Norway. I think I am among the people that you should talk to, and what I cannot be able to answer, we have a network of people who keep on advising. There are people who are teaching in universities. We have people who are doing PhDs, masters, and so we can connect you to the right people. Then about the book, I have written a book called Resilience: Reflections of Determinations and God's Providence. If you need a copy, you can. I have a few copies for those who are here in Germany. I will leave them with Agnes. Then you can get in touch, and she will give you a copy. Of course, for a few euros. Yes,
we need to support that potential to keep growing and doing more work.
Then the book can also be bought on Amazon.
Okay.
So if you search through my name or the topic, Resilience, Reflections of Determination and God's Providence, you'll get, you can buy it there. In Kenya, you can also, we do deliveries in Kenya. You just get in touch with me, place your order, and then I'll make arrangements for your copy to be delivered.
Wonderful.
And more books are coming.
More books are coming. This potential.
Two books. I decided that I may not want to turn 50 before I write them.
Okay.
One is called When Life Takes a U-Turn. Faith, Hope, and Chemnangoi.
Okay.
Chemnangoi is my name. I'm called Caroline Chemnangoi.
That was the secret I was waiting for. I was wondering, where is this Chemna coming from?
You see? And
okay, now we know.
That I'm writing is about cognitive decline among the aging and the aged population.
Okay.
And why I'm writing that is because professionally I studied about them. But I remember I lost a very dear person to me, Mr. Kabiti, to Alzheimer's. And I remember how scarce information we had at that particular time. My master's paper was on dementia, and I did my fieldwork in Kenya and it is a reality we are dealing with, but we are dealing with it without the right information.
Okay.
And the only way to reach out the majority who are affected by this particular condition is through a book. And I called it a guide for caregivers, healthcare workers, and everyone else.
Wow.
So those are books that I'm looking forward. I can't wait to have them published. Because I know they are books that are going to change lives. Yes.
That sounds very interesting. I'll be waiting.
Like the one I'm calling When Life Take a U-Turn, already my one U-Turn is done with it. Here I am.
One U-Turn is done. Next U-Turn.
Next U-Turn. I'm raising three
girls on your own single mama.
As a single mother in
tough mommy.
It is not walk in the park. And there are some things I want to share with people who may end up in a situation that I ended up. How to know that it is not all gone.
It's not all
when life takes a U-turn, you turn and take the right direction.
You take the right direction.
And then you'll make it.
And life goes on, the journey goes on.
You see? So we are here smiling. You might fall, but you can rise again.
Amazing.
Go and smile again.
Amazing.
So yes, Agnes,
amazing.
That is all what I would say about authorship.
Wow. Okay, let me see this book now. I want to see it. Hey guys, it is as simple as it is. I don't know if the camera can take it, but it looks like this. When you're looking for books from her, this is how it looks like online. Resilience is the name of the book, and I think you can check for it. And in Amazon, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, and if you don't, then get in touch with her on Facebook. She goes under the name Chemna Talks. Chemna, just the way you hear it being pronounced. Chemna Talks, and then she will give you the information that you want to know. It's a potential you need to tap into. Okay? This is a potential you need to tap into. Guys, I have learned a lot. I think I'll go home digesting still. This was heavy. And I'm glad you came. I'm so glad you came to visit. I'm so glad you took your time, your precious time, to be with us in studio, and also to open a part of you that maybe we did not deal with it in the other whatever. Maybe you don't talk about it on a daily basis, and that was very interesting. I never had a guest like you who talked about this. I never interviewed anyone about this, and I found it very, very enriching, very eye-opening. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best, you and your girls. Beautiful girls, by the way. And you're doing a great job as a single mama.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you look beautiful. Guys, if you're looking for a wife, no, I'm not continuing with that. But this was Aggie's Live Talk Show on Radio R. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. Thank you for those who took their time to be with us today. As I say, I always bring things about life, things that concern us as African diasporans, wherever we are in the world. So if you have a topic and you want to share a story of your life, to inspire others, to move others, to help others make a U-turn or continue where they are walking, if it's the right way, just let us know. We will come and air the story and inspire others. Remember, I said, your story, you may think it's nothing. You may think it's nothing special, but it can be a special story for somebody else. Someone who looks at you and thinks that you got all sorted out and may not know the behind story about you or the journey you made until there, may really surprise you to hear the story. I'm surprised by many things, and I'm glad I'm hearing this story from her personally. Guys, let's talk about our story. So if you have a story to share, I will even come to you, visit you, and just book me. I will come. Even without Ugali and Nyamachoma, I will come. So guys, thank you so much for listening. This was Aggie's Live Talk Show on Radio R. We are based in Stuttgart, Germany, and our able producer, Mr. VIP, the ambassador of all embassies, Mr. Kanida Richard, thank you for guiding us all the way, and all the team. Actually, we have a lot of projects or even programs on Radio R. Go and check on www.cradior.com, and you'll find all the other programs that we air. And also you have music, Afro music for 24/7. Where do you get that? Here in Europe? You don't have it anywhere else. And we are not joking. We want to make you feel home away from home. This was Agnes and Aggie's Live Talk Show. God bless you so much. Bye-bye. So long. Till next Sunday. Bye-bye.
This is the one.
Aggie's Live Talk Show.
The only underground radio station. Yo.
This is Radio Ara.
This is Overhits.
All of African music is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop African hits, broadcasting live from Stuttgart City to the world.